No one is drafted into prototype racing. Men rise to the challenge. They hold back nothing. A prototype is a special racing car. It must run for long distances, up to 24 hours, at speeds approaching 230 miles per hour. The designers bring their imagination. The craftsmen bring their skill, and the drivers, their courage. The laws of physics keep all of them honest. Even the slightest mistake brings swift punishment. Those who produce the right answer every step of the way are called winners. They are the best and the brightest. In the 1950s, Jaguar set the pace, teamed with drivers such as the gifted Sterling Moss. In the 7 years from 1951 to 1957, Jaguars dominated the 24 hours of Le Mans, winning 5 times. No one was better. Today, after retiring from world endurance racing for a quarter of a century, Jaguar is once again taking up the challenge. It has created a prototype of its own, fired by the magnificent Jaguar V12 and driven by Bob Tullius, the most successful Jaguar driver in the history of racing. The competition is fierce, including industry giants like Ford, sports car makers Porsche and Aston Martin, and racing specialists Lola and March. Obviously, none of them are holding the door open for the XJR5. Jaguar must find its own way to the top. This is the story of the prototype XJR5 as it develops from concept to contender. Prototypes are the fighter planes of the automotive world. Before they go into combat, they must be tested, developed, optimized. These tests take place in secret, attended only by Jaguar and its closest allies.
The faster you go, the little steadier it gets, but it still steers too quick. No problem at all.
The XJR5 was designed by one of America's leading race car creators, Lee Dykstra.
That I can see is that once in a while, well, frequently you get it in without it making any noise.
The blueprints were translated into hardware at the Virginia-based shops of Group 44, Jaguar's longtime partner in American racing, led by veteran Bob Tullius.
Because I couldn't go down the straight and around that corner in the same gear.
Fifth here?
No, fourth. And then I get back to third.
The design of the race car is a technological progression of things that have happened over years, and the designer, Lee Dykstra, has been the source for that kind of thing. The engine is the source from which we develop the rest of the car. In order to be competitive in this series of racing, the car had to be designed with the power that was available in the engine to go 230 miles an hour.
We've been involved in all kinds of production car racing for a number of years, and we've suddenly switched to world-class endurance racing, which means prototypes, and it means you build a car from scratch.
A prototype starts with an idea, just like any other object of art. The artists are the metal workers who give it shape. They use basic materials, lengths of tubing, sheets of light alloy, and endless patience. They strive for excellence.
How much did the other ones weigh?
52. So we're talking about 38.
The people who build the car, Lanky Fouché, our crew chief, Jeff Eischen, who is the assistant crew chief, those are the guys that have put the tender, loving care into the ability of the car to be trouble-free.
In order to be involved in the creation of an object like this car, one needs to be a craftsman. And the difference between a worker and a craftsman is a worker will build a piece and he'll look at it and say, that's good enough. And a craftsman will build a piece and say, that's not good enough. It's not perfect.
The quest for perfection doesn't end when the car leaves the shop. Racemanship must be equally good. Pit stops for fuel and tires have to be completed in fewer than 30 seconds. And the drivers must train themselves for a new level of performance.
It does everything different, accelerating, braking, and particularly cornering. With the ground effects, the cornering speeds are so dramatically different that it's frightening. It's very
Bill
intimidating to
Adam,
drive
an
the first
enthusiastic Canadian race driver known for being both quick and intelligent, joined Group 44 as a co-driver.
The whole opportunity with Group 44 was really it literally was a dream come true. It was something I think everyone in sports, not exclusively racing, but everyone in sports in general, hopes that super opportunity will come along at some place, and I'd always hoped somehow through abilities I would get an option to drive for somebody. And when Bob Tullius phoned me up, it really just shocked the devil out of me. Something just beyond belief.
The first real test of the newly minted Jaguar took place at Road Atlanta. There were problems to sort out, but both drivers were delighted with the car's enormous potential.
To drive a car like this is just, it's incredible. The car is just, it's astonishing. I can hardly put into words what it will do and what it's capable of doing. It's something that's even beyond my current thoughts. I can't imagine just how far we can go with it. You can go so much further into a corner before you have to apply the brakes. The ground effects naturally holding the car down because it's drawing the car down to the ground with this vacuum effect.
It's doing exactly what a race car ought to do, and I feel so naturally compatible with it simply because it's what a race driver would expect a real race car to do.
1 year in the making from concept to reality, the XJR5 was ready to face the competition. The talents of Jaguar and its allies would finally be put to the test. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Late in the 1982 season, the XJR5 made its debut. The race was long, 500 miles. The other teams had been practicing and proving themselves all year. Odds for Jaguar were bleak. In its first outing here at Road America, the sleek contender was a distinct underdog.
Jaguar historically has been enormously successful in its long-distance racing, road racing endeavors. And to have the responsibility of picking up that ball and carrying it on is a bit awesome.
No one knew what to expect. The Jaguar prototype had never faced a single opponent. But the team knew one thing from experience. Development is a discipline. You must walk before you can run. They viewed the race as a 500-mile test. Getting to the end was the first objective. Then they'd look around to see whom they'd beaten. Drivers Tullius and Adam assumed the test pilot's role, driving carefully, monitoring the new machine. Performance was better than anyone had anticipated for a maiden voyage. The XJR5 settled into third place behind a pair of seasoned turbo Porsches, and it finished there after the full 500-mile run, much to the delight of everyone involved.
We can win these races. We do not have to be the fastest. We will simply be the fastest, the longest. And in long-distance racing, there's an axiom that the people who recover from their adversities in long-distance races are the ones who win. And the dedication of those people that I have working around this car is sufficient to do that.
Recover from adversities. It's easy to say. Actually doing it sorely tests the fiber of men. The initial success at Road America was followed only a few days later by a landslide of adversity. During an accident-strewn qualifying session at Mid-Ohio, Tullius escaped with only bruises, but the XJR5 was destroyed.
The highs are very high and the lows are very low. I think the low would have been at Mid-Ohio when I got it off the course an early morning qualifying and got on some wet grass and stuffed it into a dirt bank. I could categorize that as being perhaps one of the lowest lows I've ever had. It was the second race for the car, and there'd been an enormous amount of work put into it, and I virtually destroyed it. I sat a long time by myself after that crash to kind of get perspective on how I was going to handle it before I faced my crew. But from the project's viewpoint, that was certainly a low low for everyone, including myself.
The 1983 racing season opened with a swing through Florida, beginning with Daytona's relentless 24-hour. The Jaguar team had spent the winter digging out from a second helping of adversity. Late in the fall, the second XJR5 prototype had been destroyed when a cut tire sent it into a wall at nearly 200 miles per hour. Again, Tullius had escaped with only bruises, but the carefully planned test and development program, now set back twice, had run out of time. From here on, the testing would have to be done in combat. Daytona's steeply banked turns and long straights favor the powerful turbocharged cars. Its all-day and all-night duration rewards proven durability, the XJR5's strong suit. Porsche had both, and the German cars were favorites. But the cat was definitely back. 1 hour into the race, and number 44 flashed into first place on the Daytona leaderboard. As the long night began, the XJR5 cruised comfortably near the top of the pack. The end came suddenly after 4 hours. Tullius guided the car into the pits on only 3 wheels. A suspension component had snapped. More testing was needed. But how? Where? When?
The spirit was very, very low at one point in our existence during the season, but they didn't give up.
Next stop, a tight 1.7-mile course along the Miami waterfront. The first Grand Prix of Miami, designed to give spectators an intimate look at world-class racing. In a Monaco-like atmosphere, this spectacular unfolded perfectly. Until the monsoons arrived. Blinded by torrential rains and navigating a course that quickly turned into a river, the Jaguar was in 5th place when the race was officially ended after only 50 miles. Yet, amidst the splash and gloom, the crew found one bit of good news. For the first time in months, their handcrafted prototype would go home in one piece. Racing is brutal. It kicks you when you're down. But the Jaguar team kept fighting back, rebuilding, regrouping, refining. No detail of the XJR5 was too small for attention. No possibility for speed was left unexplored.
Has the steering wheel been knocked off, or is it pulling to one side, anything like that?
The wheel's still in the same position.
He says it's 10 and 4 o'clock. The wheel has,
Yeah, in a straight line it's there, Jeff.
He's come a couple of spline, maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
That would do it.
Yeah, that would help some.
I'd like to leave the wing the way it is, I think.
Oh yeah, I'd come through this corner down here magnificently. It really does. And I have gotten through turn 1 without braking at least.
Sebring, Florida. A converted airport runway that has become a road racing tradition. 12 hours of cracked concrete and shimmering heat waves. This is the most punishing circuit of them all. If the evolving prototype could be broken, this place would do it. The Jaguar team had been preparing 7 days a week and making progress.
The car is more capable than we are at this point. I think our learning curve is beginning to flatten out just a little bit, but it's still got a long way to go.
Once again, the Jaguar broke away from the pack and opened up a comfortable lead. And once again, the fates intervened. This time, a collapsed inlet port took them out of contention. But despite the frustration, one thing was clear. This sleek Jaguar prototype had the speed to win. Road Atlanta, carved out of Georgia's red clay hill country, is known as a driver's course. Only the skilled and the brave do well there. Each lap throws 11 blind turns at you. The long straightaway crests, then plummets downhill at 180 miles per hour, only to rise again and feed you through a sharp right-hander under the bridge. Dirt embankments line the course. Slower traffic clogs the road. You must avoid both while averaging over 110 miles per hour.
Your concentration overrides everything. It's almost as if the world ceases to exist. The only thing that I have in my world when I'm in the car is the piece of track that's right in front of me, and I use all my concentration on that.
Scattered rain fell in qualifying, upsetting the team's strategy. The XJR-5 had to start the race well back in the crowded field. 59 cars began the 500-kilometer run. Efficiently, effectively, the Jaguar prototype made its move. Shrugging off hits from other cars, it ran down the opposition one by one. Porsche, March, the pair of factory-backed Ford Mustangs, the V8s from Cosworth and Chevrolet, until there was no one left. Jaguar was on its way to victory.
Once the car got across the line, the checkered flag came down, I knew, yes, that is it, we got it. Then you can let everything out, and it was just incredible feeling. I could have run around and jump. You feel like you're 6, 7 years old again. You want to run around and hug everybody, and you're so happy that finally it has happened. Everything that you've worked for such a long time, it's all come to fruition. I think that's why we race, for that feeling.
For this determined group of racing professionals, this first win was just the beginning. Step one, in proving that Jaguar was back in force.
A team.
Damn. Oh, God, is it fun?
It's fantastic. It's just nothing like it, is there?
I can't believe it.
Memorial Day at Lime Rock, Connecticut. This afternoon of racing was divided into 3 100-mile sprint races, a format that appeared to favor the turbo-assisted Porsches, or so it seemed. GT Series points leader Al Holbert in the CRC Turbo Porsche pulled away to an early lead during some of the most competitive race action of the season.
That's when the quick laps are. You may be approaching a corner at 200 miles an hour, and it doesn't seem frightening. You know exactly what you're doing, you have confidence in your own ability in your car and what the crew has done on it, and things are very orderly. And you're following this very smooth flow that you've developed, and invariably find that's when the fast laps are.
This time out, Holbert's front-running Porsche came into the pits with a turbo on fire. Before it was back on the track, the Jaguar was on top by a full lap.
It really dances on the back end.
Okay. So if we can do it without buggering up rear brakes. All right. Right now we're in good shape to run easy the last session.
Yeah.
We got lap on everybody. Several on Holbert. They got back out after they put the fire out.
During the final 100-mile sprint, the rains came. Driving to protect his lead, Tullius pushed just hard enough to take the checker in first place.
Having won the first one was not really proof that we had accomplished our goal. The Lime Rock race seemed to prove that we in fact were contenders and we were capable of winning, that the one race that we won wasn't a fluke, and that we had overcome our difficulties.
More proof was on the way. At Mossport, Tullius put the XJR5 on the pole and then led the race from start to finish. Then came Pennsylvania's mountain course, the Pocono 500, and another head-to-head duel with the GT points leader Al Holbert.
60-75 is because
sometimes you want to go faster depending upon what gear you're in.
Well, no, but what we don't want to do is accordion the guys in the back.
Well, you can see what's going on, and you go as fast as you can.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Okay. I figured that.
Holbert arrived fresh from a victory at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Once again, Tullius put the Jaguar on the pole, a full second faster than Holbert's turbocharged CRC Porsche. Jumping out to an early lead, the Jaguar forced the early pace, with Holbert's Porsche hanging on. With only 100 miles of the 500-mile race gone, it became obvious that no one would catch the smooth-running XJR5. Lap after lap, the Jaguar V12 pulled away, writing a fitting conclusion to a season that started with wreckage and discouragement. Taking the checker with a 3-lap lead, the XJR5 eased into victory lane for a special kind of celebration.
My faith in my crew and the car, its designer, and our ability to do the thing that we had to do for Jaguar has been proven, and it's a real winner.
I'm going over to congratulated by the folks of Jaguar. Mike Cook is over there. Jaguar over triumph. So they're all very, very happy, and maybe we get Tom up here. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, the winner. Tom Tullius, congratulations. Thank you very much. Like a football team, you know, if you ever plays a touchdown, if you do it right, well, today was a touchdown for us. But you had things pretty much your own way after Al Holder dropped out. Well, we've been doing a pretty good job of finishing recently, and when we finish, we win. And
4 wins in world-class prototype racing. 500 kilometers at Road Atlanta, 3 hours at Lime Rock, 6 hours at Mossport, 500 miles at Pocono International. (1983). A new prototype takes 4 wins in world-class racing. Jaguar is back. The 5-time Le Mans winner of the 50s is once again on its way to the top.